I've been a 911 dispatcher for 12 years, 7 of them on the graveyard shift. After that long, you think you've heard everything. The drunks, the domestic arguments, the panicked stammering after a crash. It all becomes a kind of background hum, a rhythm of human misfortune you learn to navigate without letting it touch you. You have to. It's the only way to stay sane. My district is sprawling and quiet, the kind of place that dies after 10 at night. Soccer moms, retirees. The worst we usually get is a noise complaint or a teenager who's had too much at a bonfire. For me, the job had become caffeine, fluorescent lights, and the low hum of servers. I was burned out, deeply, unfixably tired in a way sleep couldn't solve. The calls were blips on a screen, voices to categorize, dispatch, and move on. I was a human switchboard for other people's worst hours. The first call came on a Tuesday about 3 months ago, 2:47 a.m., the deadest hour of the deadest night. The console blinked, but not like usual. Not a cell ping or a landline, just an unregistered VoIP signal. Rare, but not unheard of. I clicked. 911, what's your emergency? Static. Thick, wet, like listening underwater. Crackles and pops, and beneath it, a whisper. Hello? Can you hear me? A child's voice. A boy, maybe 7 or 8. Trying not to move his lips as he spoke. This is 911, I repeated, louder, clearer. I can barely hear you. What's your emergency? The static swelled, swallowing his words. He's back. The man in the mask is back. A professional chill ran down my spine, the kind that tells you this is real, not a prank. Okay, son, where are you? I need an address. Hurting Mommy, he whispered, breaking with a sob. Daddy's asleep on the floor. He won't wake up. Son, I need a location. I can't send help without it. My fingers flew across the keyboard. No trace, no subscriber info. Nothing. The old house, he said, fading. At the end of the road. Please. Then silence. No hang-up, no click. Just gone. Even without an address, the description was enough. Out west, a long, unpaved road runs into the woods. At the end, a single derelict Victorian, abandoned for decades, local legend, dared by kids. I sent a patrol car. My senior officer, veteran of the county, radioed 15 minutes later. Dispatch, car 12, property secure, no signs of forced entry, boarded up. Nobody here. 50 years, maybe. 10-4, car 12, I said, hiding my confusion. The caller was a child, said family was attacked. A sigh over the radio. Dust thick, windows rotted. If someone's in there, it's a ghost. Clearing the call, tell the prankster to knock it off. I logged it as unfounded and tried to move on. A prank. A sophisticated one, perhaps. VoIP spoofer. Kids these days. Too tired to care. A week later, 2:47 a.m., the line lit up again. The same static, the same terrified whisper. He's in the house, I can hear him walking. Ice formed in my stomach. Son, is this the same caller from last week? A choked sob. He has the mask on, the scary smile, Mommy's screaming. Through the storm of static, faintly, a scream, a woman's scream, thin, high, distorted, like reversed sound. I'm sending help, I said. Stay on the line, can you hide? In the closet, he whispered. He's coming up the stairs, I can hear his feet. Dead line. 2 patrols dispatched. Repeat call, possible hostage. They took it seriously. Bullhorns, front door smashed, empty, dust layers untouched, rotten floorboards, peeling wallpaper. No footprints, no child, no masked man. Nothing human had been in that house for decades. The next morning, my supervisor pulled me aside. A large, patient man, the kind who has seen everything twice. He told me to drop it. It's a glitch, he said, avoiding my eyes. Crosstalk from another jurisdiction, some electronic echo. Don't waste county resources. If it happens again, log it and move on. But I couldn't. The boy's voice. Too real. Pure terror. You can't fake that. Not even the best actor in the world can replicate a child who thinks his mother is being murdered in the next room. The calls kept coming. Every Tuesday, like clockwork. 2:47 a.m. Each call, a new piece of the same horrible puzzle. He's hurting Daddy now. There's so much red. Mommy stopped screaming. He's looking for me. I can hear him opening doors. Every time I dispatched a car. Every time the result was the same. Empty house. Dust thick on every surface. Rotted floors. No footprints. No child. No man in a mask. The cops got angry. I became the boy who cried wolf. My supervisor formally warned me. Colleagues whispered when I walked by. Maybe I was cracking. Sleep slipped away. On nights off, my eyes fixed on the clock, 2:47 a.m. approaching. Silence became worse than the calls. I became obsessed. During the day, I visited the county records office, tracing the property. Papers, ledgers, brittle deeds, sold and resold. Finally, a deed from 1968, the last family to live there. A mom, a dad, 2 kids, a boy and a girl. Not enough. I spent days in the library basement, scrolling decades of microfiche. Dusty, stale smell of old paper filling my lungs. Weeks of nothing, tax notices, school honor rolls. Then I found it, an article from late autumn, 1975. Headline, Local Family Slain in Apparent Home Invasion. My blood ran cold. Grainy black and white photo, steep gables, wide porch, overgrown lawn, police cars scattered. Husband, wife, 10-year-old daughter found dead. Cause vague, brutal force trauma. Police mentioned a neighbor seeing a tall man in a pale, expressionless mask fleeing into the woods. Last paragraph. The family's 8-year-old son remains missing. Evidence suggests he was hiding in an upstairs closet during the attack. He has not been found. A statewide search is underway. Authorities have not ruled out abduction by the assailant. The crime unsolved. Masked man never found. Little boy vanished. The library basement felt like a tomb. Static. Whispers. Closet. Masked man. Not a prank. Not a glitch. A ghost. The next day at work, I was broken. Walked in like a zombie. Hum of servers like a funeral dirge. I had to tell someone. Grabbed my supervisor and a veteran dispatcher, dragged them into the break room. Laid it all out. Calls, timing, empty house, microfiche article, printed copies, grainy photo, expected disbelief, expected leave of absence. They didn't react as I expected. Just a look I'd never seen. Grim, tired resignation. Supervisor sighed, heavy and rattling. The older dispatcher, 30 years at the console, pale as she stared at the article. So it started again, she whispered. What do you mean, started again? I asked. What's going on? Supervisor slumped. Kid, we need to tell you about the man you replaced. The dispatcher before me. Good, sharp, dedicated. A year before I was hired, he began obsessing over the same address. Old house at the end of the road. Cars dispatched repeatedly. Patrols returned empty. Files pulled. Days at the library. He claimed calls no one else could hear. We checked logs, supervisor said. System never recorded them. Audio from his console. Dead air. We thought stress got to him. A breakdown. My blood froze. The system. It doesn't log the calls for me either. They just appear, then vanish. Older dispatcher nodded. We know. Same. He told us, little boy, man in a mask. I felt sick. What happened to him? One night, supervisor continued, eyes on the floor. He took a call. Ashen face, typing a report, then stopped. Grabbed jacket, keys, walked out. Line active. None of us heard anything. He vanished. Where? House. Car found on the road next morning. Cold engine. Doors locked. He was gone. Silence. Police grid searched the woods. Dogs, helicopters, the works. House from attic to cellar. Nothing. No struggle, no footprints. No him. Wiped off the face of the earth. I struggled to breathe. Why? Why didn't you warn me? I whispered. How could we? Supervisor barked. New guy, welcome. By the way, console may be haunted. Last guy disappeared. Don't worry. Thought he was crazy. Until you came in with the same story. He leaned forward. Next time that line rings, do not answer it. If you do by mistake, hang up immediately. Do not engage. Terminate the call. Understand? Weeks passed. I became a ghost. Job on autopilot. Every sound flicker on screen made me jump. Tuesday nights, I drank coffee until my heart rattled. Thought about quitting. Where would I go? Then, last night, it was 2:45 a.m. My knuckles were white, gripping the desk. Minutes dragged like hours. 2:46. My mouth dry. Heart drumming in my ears. 2:47. The line lit up. Unregistered VoIP. A physical blow. Instinct screamed at me to answer. Child in trouble. That's the job. But I remembered my supervisor's haunted eyes, the story of the man who vanished. You terminate the call. I let it ring. Once. Twice. Console flashing like fire. Hand hovering over the button, trembling. Couldn't ignore it. I had to answer. I had to. Clicked. 911, what is your... Static. A roar louder than ever. Physical, like it pressed into my skull. Through it, the boy's voice, not a whisper now, but screaming. Raw agony. Pure terror. He's got me. He's got me. Please. He's taking me. Please, sir. Don't let him take me. Help me. Professional detachment shattered. Reflex took over, hand to keyboard to dispatch a car. But I froze. He's gone. Already happened. Not real. The sobbing continued, choked pleas. Please. You promised. You said you'd send help. Don't leave me. Tears came. I was a 911 dispatcher. My job. Send help. And I was going to do nothing. I'm sorry, I whispered. I'm so sorry. Fingers hovered over the terminate button, millimeters away, choosing safety, choosing to let him go. Then silence. Abrupt. No fade. Static dropped to a low, sinister hum. Line open. Not the boy. A man's voice, whispering. Terrified, older, hoarse, distorted. Same underwater static. Same swarm of insects sound. Pushing through impossible distance. Time itself. Voice I should have recognized from an old staff photo. He's here. I froze, finger over the console. Ragged, desperate. He sees you. Through the line, he's looking right at you. Cold dread, absolute, profound, death-like washed over me. I looked up across the darkened dispatch center at the plate glass windows. Nothing outside but the reflection of my own terrified face in the monitor's glow. Whispering continued, final, chilling plea from beyond hope. Please, get me out of here. You've been listening to Nocturnal FM. Tonight, remember, some calls never end, some voices never leave, and some stories are waiting for someone to answer, even decades later. Keep your doors locked, your windows closed, and your ears sharp. The line may ring when you least expect it. She asked us not to use her real name, so we'll call her Emily. She's 14, and what she wrote isn't a game, even if it began with one. Here is her letter. Hi. I don't really know how to start this. I'm 14, and I guess I just need someone to listen. I never told my mom or my stepdad about that night. We barely talk as it is. But I can't sleep anymore, so maybe telling a stranger will help. That day I got into another fight with them. I don't even remember why. Probably something stupid. They said I was acting out. I said they didn't care about me. Nobody said sorry. I locked myself in my room and tried to sleep, but I couldn't stop thinking. I felt angry and embarrassed and lonely all at once. And then I remembered the elevator game. I knew it was just a creepypasta, but that night, everything felt too heavy. There's a building next to ours with 10 floors and an old elevator hardly used late at night. I grabbed my hoodie, my phone, and walked there quietly. The hallway smelled like dust and warm metal. The elevator doors were slightly open, like someone had forced them earlier. I stepped inside. The light inside flickered, then stayed dim. I pressed the button for the 4th floor. The doors closed slowly, and the elevator moved. At first, I felt a tiny drop under my feet, like the elevator dipped before rising. Later, I told myself it was probably nothing. Maybe I expected something weird, so I felt it more than it actually was. I was already nervous, so every sound felt louder. Every vibration felt wrong. The elevator reached the 4th floor, but the doors didn't open right away. They paused, like someone outside was hesitating. Then they opened just an inch. I didn't see anyone, but I thought I heard breathing, light and close. Tichoe y bliscoe, suave y cercana. Now I'm not sure. Maybe it was just the old ventilation. The doors closed again. I pressed 2. The elevator obeyed, descending smoothly. When it stopped at the 2nd floor, the doors again opened just a crack, and for a moment I saw a shadow shift. Maybe it could have been a coat on a hook, or someone passing by, or nothing at all. The doors closed. I pressed 6. My ears popped as the elevator rose again. I tried to stay calm, but I knew deep down that the elevator didn't feel normal. The elevator stopped at the 6th floor, and for a moment I didn't move. I didn't want the doors to open. But they did. Just a few centimeters again. It was so quiet outside that I could hear the hum of the elevator wires above me. And then, very lightly, something tapped the metal floor outside. Just once. A shoe, a cane, something dropping. I told myself it could have been anything. Maybe a tenant on that floor heard the elevator. Maybe someone walked past. But when I leaned forward just a little, trying to see, there were no lights on in the hallway, and no footsteps walking away. The doors closed again like a reflex. My hands were shaking when I pressed 2. Going down felt slower than going up. Maybe it was just my nerves. Maybe I kept imagining the elevator changing speed. The doors opened on the 2nd floor again, same as before. A narrow gap. The hallway was empty, but the air felt colder than before. I held my breath without meaning to. I pressed 10. The button stuck for a moment before clicking in. The elevator groaned as it started rising again. And somewhere between the 4th and 7th floor, the elevator slowed down on its own. Not stopping, just hesitating. I stared at the panel, trying to pretend it didn't scare me. Old elevators do that, right? But then the floor indicator flickered. It showed 7, 8, then 7 again. I felt my throat tighten. Just a glitch, I whispered to myself. But the moment I said it, the elevator jerked upward sharply, like it didn't like being talked about. I grabbed the rail to steady myself. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A notification. Camera active. I hadn't opened it. I didn't even want to look. Finally, the elevator reached the 10th floor. The doors opened wider this time. Not all the way, but enough for me to see the hallway. The lights were off. Completely off. The hallway looked darker than the others. Too dark. Like the walls absorbed the little light that came from the elevator. And then I realized something that made my stomach twist. I couldn't hear the building anymore. No humming. No pipes. No neighbors. It felt like I'd gone underwater. I pressed 5 with a shaking finger. The button glowed faintly. The doors didn't close immediately. For a moment, it felt like something was standing just out of sight, deciding whether to let me go. And then, slowly, the doors slid shut. The elevator began descending to the 5th floor. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I might faint, because according to the rules, the woman was next. The elevator slowed, then stopped. The 5 button glowed weakly, like it didn't want to stay lit. My stomach twisted. This was the step I'd been dreading. The doors opened, just a little at first, like before. But then, they drifted open wider, all the way this time. I didn't want to look, but I had to. The hallway on the 5th floor wasn't dark. It was lit, dimly, yellowish, like old apartment hallways are. And there was someone there. But not the way I imagined, not a woman in a dress, not someone staring at me. She was kneeling on the floor, not facing me, facing the wall. At first I thought it was a girl my age, small, thin, shoulders shaking slightly, maybe crying. Then she shifted and I realized her hair was too long for a child, and her clothes, oversized, mismatched, like she left home in a hurry. She was whispering something, very quietly, too quietly. I couldn't tell if it was words or just breath. I froze, and then She lifted her hand, not toward me, not threateningly. She reached toward the wall and tapped it twice with her knuckles. Knock, knock, and something or someone tapped back. Same rhythm. Knock, knock. My whole body went cold. I didn't know if it was pipes or neighbors or if she was signaling someone. She tilted her head slightly like she heard me thinking. Then she whispered, clearer this time, "Don't press one." She didn't turn to look at me. She didn't move otherwise. Just said it like she already knew what I was going to do next. My heart was hammering against my ribs. I couldn't stay there. I slammed my hand on the button panel and hit 1. The woman, or girl, or whoever she was, whispered again, sharper, "He's on the next floor." I didn't wait to find out who he was. The doors closed, not slowly this time, but fast, like the elevator was panicking too. The elevator began moving, and my legs almost gave out when I saw the direction indicator. The elevator wasn't going down. It was going up. The indicator blinked once, then twice, and it kept rising. 6, 7, 8. I stared at the panel, confused, my finger still hovering over the button I'd pressed. "I pressed 1, I whispered. "I know I did. For a second I thought maybe I'd hit the wrong button. But no. The 1 button was glowing faintly. The elevator was ignoring it. Or something was overriding it. My throat tightened. The higher we went, the quieter everything became. No motor hum, no cables, just air pressing against my ears, like the building itself was holding its breath. The elevator slowed, then it jerked, not violently, but like someone had grabbed it from above and stopped it with their hands. I grabbed the rail to keep my balance. My legs felt weak. The indicator finally stopped on 9. The doors did not open. Instead, something else happened. A single soft sound came from above the elevator. Scrap, like fabric brushing metal, or someone shifting their weight in the maintenance shaft. "Please be a worker," I whispered. But it didn't sound like boots or tools. More patient. The elevator stayed still for too long. Long enough that I started to imagine things, like someone was crouched on the roof, listening to me breathe. I pressed the 1 button again. It flickered, but nothing happened. The elevator didn't move. For the first time, I wondered if the woman on the 5th floor wasn't warning me, but warning someone else about me. "He's on the next floor." I tried not to think about that. I pressed 1 again, harder this time, and finally, the elevator moved, but it didn't go down. The indicator switched to 10. I felt like crying. My phone buzzed again. A notification. Audio recording started. I didn't start it. I didn't touch anything. And then the elevator's emergency speaker cracked alive with a faint, breathy static. Not a voice. Not words, just breathing. Slow. Too slow. Like someone was mimicking human breathing and not getting it quite right. I covered my ears, but it didn't help. The sound felt like it was coming from inside the elevator walls. The elevator finally reached the 10th floor. The doors opened, slowly, cautiously, almost respectfully. I expected darkness again, but instead, the hallway lights were on. Bright, normal, completely normal. For a second, I wondered if I imagined everything. Maybe the elevator was just old. Maybe the woman on the 5th floor was just a scared neighbor. Maybe I really did press the wrong button. But then, the lights in the hallway flickered once, and every door on the floor creaked at the same time, not opening, just reacting, like something had walked past them. The air felt colder again. I pressed the 1 button for the 3rd time. This time the elevator obeyed instantly. The doors closed fast, too fast, like the elevator didn't want the hallway to see me. The elevator began descending, and I realized I wasn't alone anymore. The elevator began descending, and for a moment I felt relief. It was stupid, of course, because nothing was over yet. But going down felt right, normal, at least for the first 3 floors. Then the elevator slowed. Again. Not a stop, just hesitation. Like someone else was controlling how fast it should go. I stared at the doors, praying they wouldn't open on their own. And then, behind me, something shifted. The elevator began descending, and for a moment I felt relief. It was stupid, of course, because nothing was over yet. But going down felt right. Normal, at least for the first 3 floors. Then the elevator slowed. Again. Not a stop, just hesitation, like someone else was controlling how fast it should go. I stared at the doors, praying they wouldn't open on their own. And then, behind me, something shifted. Soft, barely there, like fabric brushing against metal. My whole body went rigid. I didn't turn. I didn't want to turn. I stared straight ahead at my reflection in the doors. My reflection looked pale, wide-eyed, terrified, and for a split second, I thought I saw a second shadow behind me, not touching me, not even close, just there. Then the elevator lights flickered and the shadow disappeared. My breath sounded too loud in the tiny space. Maybe someone got in, I whispered. Maybe I didn't notice. But the elevator hadn't stopped, and no one had spoken. No footsteps. When the doors finally opened, the first thing I saw was the floor. Just the floor. The dull yellow tiles of the lobby. For a moment, nothing seemed wrong. But then my eyes adjusted, and I saw it. A shape, sitting on the lobby floor, right in front of the elevator. Small, curled up. At first, I thought it was a child, a toddler maybe, sitting with their knees to their chest. But then the figure moved. Not toward me, just a shift, like adjusting weight. And I saw the truth. It wasn't a child, it was a woman. Sitting on the floor with her arms wrapped tightly around her legs, her hair fell forward, covering her face completely. She wasn't crying, she wasn't shaking. She was listening. Her head tilted slightly, angled toward the elevator, like she knew I was there, like she'd been waiting. My legs locked. I couldn't move. "Ma'am." I tried to say it, but it came out as a squeak. She didn't lift her head. She didn't move at all. She just whispered, barely audible, "Not you." My skin crawled so fast it hurt. I didn't understand. Not me. What? Not me. Who? And then from somewhere deeper in the lobby, a second sound. A soft, dragging step, like someone walking in socks. Slow, careful, coming closer. The woman on the floor whispered again, "Go." That was enough. I bolted out of the elevator so fast I nearly tripped. I didn't look at the woman. I didn't look at whatever was approaching from the lobby. I just ran. Through the lobby, past the mailboxes, out the front door, and into the cold night. I didn't stop running until I reached my building. I slammed my door shut and locked it 3 times. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. The next day I checked the photos and videos on my phone. Everything the elevator recorded was corrupted. Black screens, static, a few frames of my shoes, and nothing else. I tried to tell myself it was all my imagination. But 2 things still keep me awake at night. First, when I passed the building the next morning, every door on the 5th floor had police tape on it. Second, I never heard footsteps behind me when I ran, but I swear, I could feel someone following. That's why I'm writing to you. Maybe saying it out loud will make it less real. Or maybe someone listening had something like this happen to them too. I just want to sleep again. I'm pretty sure I was 6 years old the first time I received a birthday card in the mail. I don't remember the exact age. What I do remember is the kitchen table, a bowl of cereal slowly turning soggy in front of me, and my mom walking in holding a bright white envelope like it mattered. "Look at this," she said. "You got mail." When you're a kid, mail feels like something meant for adults. Bills, appointment reminders, coupons, not for you. So when she handed it to me, I felt oddly proud, like I just unlocked something new. My name was written on the front, just my first name, no last name, no return address. "Who's it from?" I asked. "Probably someone in the family," she said. Someone being silly and forgetting the rest. She smiled when she said it, but it was the kind of smile that lingered just a second too long before tightening at the edges. I tore the envelope open. Inside was a generic birthday card, balloons, a cake, and written neatly in blue ink were 2 words, "Happy Birthday." No signature, no explanation. I turned the card toward my mom like she might find the answer printed somewhere else. She looked at it for a few seconds, then set it down on the counter. "See," she said, "someone loves you. Eat your cereal." That should have been the end of it. A strange but harmless childhood memory. But the next year, another envelope arrived. Same white paper, same neat handwriting, same lack of a return address. Inside, once again, "Happy Birthday." After the 3rd year in a row, my mom stopped calling it cute. I caught her one morning standing at the counter, holding the open card and staring at it. Her thumb traced over the letters, like she was trying to recognize the handwriting. Then she flipped the envelope over, as if something might suddenly appear on the back. "Who is it from?" I asked. She jumped like I'd startled her. "I told you," she said. "Probably someone in the family. Go get your shoes. We're heading to Nana's." After that, she stopped leaving the cards out. They still came, though, every year. Same day, same style, same handwriting. When I reached middle school, the messages started to change. One year, the card said, "Happy Birthday. I hope you get everything you asked for." Okay, a little odd, but nothing alarming. The next year, "Happy Birthday. I hope practice went well. I'm proud of you." My mom went very quiet that year. I had just started taking basketball seriously, staying late after school, games, parents in the stands yelling. The year after that, the card read, "Happy Birthday. Nice job making the team. You look strong out there." That was the first time the words made my stomach drop. "How do they know that?" I asked. My mom tried to brush it off, but her face betrayed her. "Maybe your coach," she said, "or another parent. Don't worry about it." But she did worry. I heard her on the phone that night. Not what she said, just how she said it. Tight. Controlled. The next day, she took the cards to the police station. When she came back, she looked frustrated instead of relieved. "They say there's nothing they can do," she told me. "No threats, no name, nothing to trace. They think it's a relative or some kid being weird." "You showed them the part about the team?" I asked. "I did. They said to come back if there are threats." The next year, the card went back to just "Happy Birthday," like whoever was sending them had decided to pull back. We moved when I was 13. New town, new house, new school. I remember standing in the driveway, staring at the brand new mailbox, thinking, they don't know where I live now. A few months later, on my birthday, there was an envelope waiting. Same white paper, same handwriting. Just my first name. My mom said maybe it had been forwarded from the old address. We both knew that didn't make sense. Inside, it said, "Happy Birthday. New house. Same you." That night, my mom installed extra locks. After that, the messages stayed simple again. Every year, exactly on time. Same handwriting. Eventually, I got used to it. It became just another part of life. Like getting older. Like the seasons changing. Once a year, a reminder would show up that someone out there knew exactly where I was. After college, I moved into a rundown 2-bedroom house. Thin walls. A door that stuck when it rained. It was the first place that felt truly mine. Old couch, second-hand TV, a bed frame I built myself and almost broke in the process. The cards still came. Somehow they always knew my address. When I was 23, I met my girlfriend. Her name doesn't matter. She works a normal job, remembers birthdays, brings snacks to movie nights, gets emotionally invested in TV shows. Normal things. Almost a year into dating, I finally told her about the cards. It came up because my birthday was approaching, and I joked about my mystery card arriving right on schedule. She didn't laugh. "How many years?" she asked. "Since I was 6, I said. And you don't know who sends them? No. And they always find you, even when you move. Yeah. She told me that wasn't normal, that it sounded like someone tracking me. I brushed it off. No threats, just birthday wishes. A few days later, she sent me a link to a doorbell camera and said she'd split the cost. I agreed. For a while, it was just a way to see deliveries and neighbors walking by. Then, about a week before my birthday, things started showing up. First, food, my favorite takeout, paid for online, no name. Then a small box with a cheap stuffed dog inside, no receipt. Then flowers, expensive ones, with a card that read, "It's here, can't wait," no signature. Then another package. Inside was a birthday card, the same kind as always. 3 words written inside. Counting down, now. And that night, one more box arrived. Inside was my spare key, the one I kept under the mat. A note was taped to the lid. "I don't need this anymore. Happy birthday week." I called the police. Now I'm sitting in the station lobby. Plastic chairs. 2 bright lights. A TV playing silently in the corner. My phone buzzes. A notification from my doorbell camera. Motion detected at your front door. On the screen, a man stands on my porch with his back to the camera. He's large, broad shoulders stretching his jacket, hood up, standing perfectly still. I can hear him breathing. Slow, calm. "You're being quiet today," he says. "I know you're there." "You know what day it is," he continues. "My favorite day." He knocks 3 times, slow, heavy. "Open the door," he says. "It's time to celebrate." He's still waiting, and I'm only writing this letter to try to put everything in order in my head and to understand what I'm supposed to do next. You've been listening to Nocturnal FM. Sometimes the most frightening thing isn't what's outside the door. It's realizing someone has been walking beside you your entire life, unseen. Stay safe, and maybe check what's under your welcome mat. Good night.